Story disclaimer. This story is a work of fiction and is intended for entertainment purposes only. The content includes dark themes, horror elements, and fictional depictions of rituals and sacrifices that are purely imaginative and not reflective of any real-life practices or beliefs. Viewer discretion is advised. This video is not suitable for younger audiences, and parental guidance is recommended. The story does not endorse or promote any harmful behavior, violence, or dangerous activities. Please note that all characters, events, and settings are entirely fictional and created for the purpose of storytelling. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events, is purely coincidental. Juma and his friends are thrust into an epic struggle as they confront the dark realm of shadows and face chilling visions that test their courage. With a cult bent on feeding despair and summoning an ancient force, the group battles fears, betrayal, and the ominous whispers of a prophecy tied to a blood moon. Each step deeper into this nightmare realm forces them to confront personal demons and unearth hidden strengths. As their unity becomes their greatest weapon, they prepare for a climactic battle against the cult of the abyss. Will they shatter the darkness or be consumed by it? Stay tuned as this tale of bravery, sacrifice, and resilience unfolds. Juma and his friends were engulfed by the swirling darkness, their surroundings twisting and distorting as they were pulled into a realm of nightmares. One moment, they stood in the abandoned building, the next, they found themselves in a desolate landscape, shrouded in thick fog. The air was heavy with an oppressive silence, broken only by the echoing whispers of their fears. "Where are we?" Mwita asked, panic seeping into his voice. "What is this place?" "This is the realm of shadows," Juma replied, trying to sound confident. "It feeds on our fears. We must confront whatever it throws at us." As if summoned by his words, a figure emerged from the mist, a vision of Mwita's lost friend, Amani, his face twisted in anguish. "Help me!" Amani cried, his voice echoing with despair. "I can't escape." "Stay strong, Amani," Juma shouted, reaching out to him. But as he stepped forward, the figure morphed into a grotesque version of himself, a twisted reflection filled with anger and regret. "Is this who you truly are, Juma?" the figure sneered. "A coward hiding behind false bravado." "No," Juma yelled, shaking his head. "I won't let you define me." The darkness pulsed, and Juma felt a surge of energy rising within him. He recalled Bibi Naima's words, "Find the source of the darkness." With newfound determination, he raised his hands, envisioning a shield of light surrounding them. Suddenly, the dark figure recoiled, the shadows retreating momentarily. "You think you can fight me?" it hissed, but Juma could see fear flickering in its eyes. "You're nothing but a reflection of our fears," Juma shouted, channeling the collective strength of his friends. "We are stronger together." With that declaration, a blinding light erupted from their hands, pushing the darkness back and illuminating the twisted landscape. But as the shadows faded, they revealed more horrors, images of their past failures, doubts, and regrets. "Face them," Juma urged. "We can't let them control us." The blinding light forced the dark figures to retreat, but they morphed into chilling images from each friend's past. Mwita saw his younger self, huddled in a corner as his parents argued, words like knives cutting through the air. "You'll never amount to anything," echoed the voice of his father, and Mwita felt the sting of that memory like it was happening again. "Fight it, Mwita," Juma shouted, his voice breaking through the haze. "You are not that boy anymore." Mwita gritted his teeth, summoning all his courage. "You are wrong. I am stronger than you think." With a roar, he charged at the vision, engulfing it in a burst of light. The figure shattered like glass, and Mwita felt a weight lift from his chest. The others soon followed suit. Aisha faced her own darkness, her struggle to break free from societal expectations. You'll never be enough, the shadow hissed, morphing into a mockery of her failures. But Aisha's spirit blazed fiercely. I define my worth. You don't own me. With that declaration, she shattered her shadow, sending sparks of light cascading into the void. As the group fought back against their fears, they felt an intense connection, an energy that bound them together. But the darkness was relentless, reshaping itself, determined to extinguish their light. The swirling fog thickened, morphing into a sinister atmosphere as the shadows whispered of a deeper darkness. You think you can escape? You are merely pawns in a game controlled by the cult of the abyss, a voice echoed, resonating in their minds. What is the cult of the abyss? Juma demanded, his resolve hardening. What do you want from us? They crave despair, the voice taunted, growing louder, echoing off the walls of the realm. Each soul they claim adds to their power, strengthening the bond of darkness. A chilling vision appeared before them, robed figures performing a ritual, their faces hidden in shadow. Animal sacrifices lay before an altar made of bones, the air thick with the smell of smoke and incense. Juma felt a wave of nausea wash over him. We have to stop them, he said, his heart racing. We have to find a way to break this cycle. Mwita nodded. But how? They are powerful. Together, we can harness our collective strength. Juma replied, determination igniting within him. We need to expose their true nature, show others the darkness behind their masks. Aisha added, and we must find Amani. He could hold the key to understanding their power. As they pushed deeper into the realm, the whispers grew louder, echoing the fears that had once consumed them. But this time, they held onto the light they had created together, knowing that the darkness would not claim them easily. The landscape around them shifted as they ventured deeper into the shadows. The air grew heavy with a stench of decay, and the once distant whispers transformed into chilling laughter. Juma felt the darkness wrap around him like a suffocating blanket, but he fought to keep his focus. Amani! Juma shouted, his voice slicing through the haze. Where are you? Suddenly, the shadows parted to reveal a clearing. In the center stood a massive stone altar, adorned with sinister symbols. Atop it lay Amani, bound and unconscious, surrounded by the robed figures of the cult of the abyss. Juma's heart raced as he recognized the dark energy surrounding the altar, pulsating with a life of its own. We have to save him, he urged his friends. But how? Mwita asked, fear creeping into his voice. Disrupt their ritual. Juma commanded, feeling the power within him surge. We need to draw the energy away from the altar. As they moved closer, the cultists began to chant, their voices melding into a haunting melody that filled the air with dread. The energy around Amani intensified, and the dark figure overseeing the ritual turned to them, its eyes glowing with malice. You dare to intrude, it hissed, summoning shadows to ensnare them. No. Juma shouted, channeling his courage. We are not afraid of you. As the shadows lunged at them, Juma reached out, grasping the light that had blossomed within him. We will break your hold, he cried, directing the energy toward Amani. The light surged forward, colliding with the shadows. The cultists faltered, their chanting disrupted as they were enveloped in the brilliance. Amani stood on the altar, slowly awakening. Amani's eyes fluttered open, confusion evident on his face. Juma. What's happening? He mumbled, his voice strained. Hang on, Amani. We are here to save you. Juma shouted, his heart pounding as he fought against the encroaching shadows. As the light expanded, it illuminated the clearing, revealing the true nature of the cultists. Their faces twisted in fear, they began to scatter, desperate to escape the onslaught of light. But the dark figure, now fully revealed, roared in anger. You think you can escape the darkness? I will consume you all. It raised its hands, summoning a whirlwind of shadows to envelop the group. Stay together. Muita shouted, grabbing Amani's hand. "We won't let it take us." The group formed a circle around Amani, channeling their energy into a brilliant shield of light. The darkness clashed against their barrier, hissing and crackling like a thunderstorm. "Feel your power," Juma urged. "Together, we can push it back." With a roar, they pressed forward, sending waves of light crashing against the dark figure. The shadows screamed, twisting and contorting as they were pushed back. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled, and cracks began to form, fissures erupting with dark energy. The altar shuddered, and Amani's eyes widened in fear. "It's collapsing. Hold on," Juma yelled. "We can't let it win." As they focused their energy, the light pulsed brighter, illuminating the darkness and revealing the source of the cult's power. It lay entwined within the shadows, a pulsating mass that seemed to feed off their fear. "Look!" Amani cried, pointing at the pulsating mass within the shadows. "That must be the heart of their power. We have to destroy it." Juma shouted, feeling adrenaline surge through him. "It's the only way to free us all." "But how?" Muita asked, panic creeping into his voice. "Channel everything we have into that light," Juma urged. "We can break its hold on us." As the darkness writhed and howled around them, the group focused their energy, visualizing their fears as shadows in the distance. They summoned memories of their loved ones, their dreams, and everything that filled them with light. Together, they formed a bond, a thread of light weaving through the darkness. With every ounce of strength, they pushed forward, driving the light into the pulsating mass at the center of the darkness. The shadows screamed, and the ground shook violently. "No. You cannot defeat me," the dark figure roared, its voice echoing like thunder. But Juma felt the power of their collective light swell within him. "We are not afraid," he declared, his voice ringing out. "We will break your hold." As the light surged forward, it pierced through the darkness, striking the pulsating mass with a blinding flash. The shadows writhed in agony, their screams echoing in the realm. With a final burst of energy, the light engulfed the pulsating mass, and a shockwave rippled through the realm. The darkness shattered like glass, sending shards of shadow flying in every direction. Amani, now free from the altar, joined Juma and the others as they stood together, united in their victory. The realm began to collapse around them, the ground trembling violently as the darkness disintegrated. "Run!" Muita shouted, grabbing Amani's hand as they sprinted toward the edge of the clearing. The shadows spiraled away, their whispers fading into nothingness. As they dashed forward, a brilliant light enveloped them, pulling them from the realm of darkness. Juma felt a rush of exhilaration as they were hauled back into the abandoned building, landing in a heap on the floor. Gasping for breath, the friends looked around, relief flooding over them. They were back in their world, the shadows dissipating like smoke. "I can't believe we did it," Aisha exclaimed, her voice trembling with disbelief. "But at what cost?" Juma said, his voice growing serious. "The cult of the abyss will not stop. They will come for us." "We'll be ready," Amani replied, determination shining in his eyes. "We know how to fight them now." As the group regained their composure, they quickly realized the remnants of darkness still lingered in the corners of their minds. They had defeated the immediate threat, but the echoes of the cult of the abyss haunted them, a reminder of the battles still ahead. "We need to find out more about the cult," Juma said, his voice steady. "We must understand their rituals and what they truly want." The group gathered in a circle, sharing their thoughts and fears. "We can't face them blindly," Muita added. "We need knowledge, an understanding of their dark magic." Amani suggested searching the bookstore where he had first discovered the ancient book that connected them all. "There might be more information hidden in its pages," he said, his eyes brightening with hope. They made their way to the bookstore, the scent of aged paper and dust filling the air. Amani led them to a hidden corner where the book had been found. As he dusted off the cover, strange symbols glimmered beneath the grime. "This is it," Amani breathed, his fingers tracing the intricate patterns. "This book holds secrets of dark rituals and the cult of the abyss." As they gathered around, the book opened to a page filled with arcane symbols and illustrations of rituals. One particular image caught Juma's attention, a ritual meant to bind souls to the cult. "This is what they want," he said, pointing to the illustration. "They are trying to trap souls in their realm of darkness." Aisha shuddered. "We must find a way to counter this." They spent hours studying the book, deciphering its contents, and discovering the symbols needed to counter the cult's magic. With every revelation, they felt the weight of their task grow heavier. Days turned into weeks as they trained together, mastering the knowledge they had gained from the ancient book. The bond between them deepened, their friendship becoming a source of strength against the looming darkness. One night, as they practiced their incantations under the stars, Juma felt a disturbance in the air. "Something's coming," he warned, his instincts on high alert. "What do you mean?" Mwita asked, sensing the tension in Juma's voice. "I can feel the shadows stirring," Juma replied, his heart racing. "The cult knows we are gathering strength. They won't let us continue unchallenged." Just then, a chilling wind swept through the clearing, carrying with it the whispers of the shadows. "You cannot escape the darkness," they echoed, wrapping around them like a cold shroud. The friends stood their ground, their resolve unshaken. "We will not be afraid," Amani shouted, channeling the strength of their friendship. As they raised their hands, a brilliant light enveloped them, pushing back the encroaching shadows. But deep inside, Juma knew this was just the beginning. The cult was not idle. Juma and his friends soon learned of a dark ceremony that would take place on the night of the blood moon, a time when the barriers between realms were weakest. They planned to bind more souls, Aisha warned, her eyes wide with fear. "We have to stop them." As they formulated their plan, an unsettling feeling washed over Juma. "What if we have to sacrifice something to counter their magic?" he suggested, the weight of his words heavy in the air. "Like what?" Mwita asked, his brows furrowed. "A part of ourselves," Juma replied, dread filling his chest. "It could be a memory, a bond, something we hold dear." The group fell silent, contemplating the gravity of the sacrifice they might have to make. "I'm willing to do it," Mwita said finally, his voice steady. "Whatever it takes to stop them." "We all are," Amani added, determination shining in his eyes. "Together, we will face whatever darkness lies ahead." The night of the blood moon arrived, casting an eerie glow over the land. Juma and his friends gathered at the edge of the forest, the air thick with tension as they prepared for the impending battle. The cultists gathered in a clearing, their robed figures silhouetted against the crimson sky. Juma felt the darkness pulsing like a heartbeat, urging him to step back, to give in to fear. But he stood firm, bolstered by the strength of his friends. "We can do this," he whispered, gripping Amani's hand. As they approached, the cult began their chanting, the sound vibrating through the air like a dark melody. Juma raised his hands, channeling the light they had cultivated. With a roar, the group surged forward, their collective power clashing against the dark energy of the cult. The shadows writhed and twisted, trying to envelop them, but Juma pushed forward, breaking through the barrier of darkness. "Stop," he shouted, confronting the cult leader. "You will not claim another soul." The cultists faltered, their chanting interrupted by the brilliance of Juma's light. But the leader's eyes gleamed with malice. "You think you can defeat us? This night belongs to the abyss." As the cult leader shouted his incantation, shadows erupted from the ground, swirling around the clearing like a storm. Juma felt the darkness closing in, a suffocating force that threatened to consume them all. But the group stood strong, their bond radiating warmth and light. We will not be afraid. Mwita shouted, channeling his energy into the air. With a deafening roar, the shadows surged forward, a tidal wave of darkness. But Juma focused on the light within him, amplifying it with every ounce of courage he had. Together, he cried, and they joined hands, forming a circle. The light pulsed brighter, pushing against the encroaching shadows. Feel our strength. Amani yelled, and the light erupted from their hands, colliding with the darkness. A shockwave of energy surged through the clearing, sending the cultists stumbling back. But the cult leader grinned, raising his hands to the sky. You think you can resist the abyss? I will unleash its full power. With a deafening crack, the ground shook, and a portal of swirling shadows opened above them, dark tendrils reaching out like hungry fingers. The air crackled with energy as a monstrous figure began to materialize within the portal. The monstrous figure emerged from the portal, a towering entity cloaked in shadows and malice. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and its voice boomed, shaking the very ground beneath their feet. Foolish mortals. You have summoned me, it thundered, the air thick with dark energy. Juma and his friends felt their resolve waver as the creature loomed over them, its presence suffocating. What have we done? Aisha gasped, her voice trembling. Stay together. Juma shouted, fighting against the creeping dread. We have the light on our side. The creature lunged forward, tendrils of darkness whipping through the air. The friends raised their hands, channeling their energy into a brilliant shield of light, but the darkness was relentless. Fight it. Mwita yelled, his voice strained. We can't let it break us. As the shadows crashed against their shield, Juma felt the darkness seeping through, threatening to consume them. He closed his eyes, recalling the bond they had forged, every moment of laughter, every shared fear, every victory. With renewed determination, he shouted, our bond is stronger than your darkness. The shield pulsed with energy, and a blinding light erupted from within. The creature shrieked, its form flickering as the light pushed back against the darkness. The monstrous figure writhed in pain as the light surged forward, pushing against the encroaching shadows. Juma felt a newfound strength coursing through him, fueled by the unity of his friends. We can't hold this back forever. Amani shouted, his voice filled with urgency. We need to finish this. Look. Aisha pointed, her eyes wide. The cult leader. He's trying to regain control. Juma turned his gaze to the cult leader, who was desperately chanting incantations, trying to re-establish his power. We have to stop him. Juma cried, determination surging within him. Together, they charged forward, breaking the barrier of shadows that surrounded the cult leader. You will not claim another soul. Juma shouted, the light radiating from him like a beacon. With every step, the shadows recoiled, shrieking in fury. The cult leader's eyes widened in disbelief as they closed the distance. No. You cannot do this, he screamed, but it was too late. Juma raised his hands, channeling all their collective power into a single burst of light. The energy exploded forth, engulfing the cult leader and sending him crashing to the ground. The shadows that had clung to him began to dissolve, the darkness unraveling like smoke in the wind. As the light faded, the clearing fell silent. The cultists, stripped of their power, scattered into the darkness, leaving the remnants of their once feared presence behind. Juma and his friends stood panting, their hearts racing. Did we really do it? Aisha whispered, disbelief etched across her face. Yes, Mwita replied, a grin breaking through the exhaustion. We faced the darkness and emerged victorious. But as they celebrated, a chilling wind swept through the clearing, carrying with it an unsettling whisper. You may have won this battle, but the war is far from over. Juma's heart sank as the shadows danced around them, a reminder that the cult of the abyss was still lurking in the depths, waiting for the next opportunity to strike. In the weeks that followed, Juma and his friends struggled to regain their sense of normalcy. But the whispers of darkness lingered, a constant reminder of their battle. One evening, Amani approached Juma with a grave expression. "I found something," he said, handing Juma an old, tattered scroll. "It's a prophecy." Juma unfolded the scroll, the faded ink revealing ominous words. "The blood moon shall rise again, and with it, the shadows will return to claim their due." "What does it mean?" Aisha asked, her voice trembling. "It means we are not safe," Juma replied, a chill running down his spine. "We must prepare for the next confrontation." With newfound urgency, the group delved into the ancient texts, searching for any clue that might help them decipher the prophecy and prevent the cult's return. As they pored over the scrolls, the friends discovered that the cult had been preparing for a new ritual, one that would grant them unimaginable power. The blood moon was only weeks away, and they needed to act fast. "We can't let them complete this ritual," Mwita insisted, his eyes blazing with determination. "We have to stop them." Juma nodded, fear gripping his heart. "But we need a plan. We can't face them unprepared." They devised a strategy, utilizing the knowledge they had gained from the ancient book. Each member would play a vital role, and together, they would confront the cult before it could summon the shadows. As the blood moon drew closer, Juma and his friends prepared for the impending confrontation. They gathered allies, other brave souls who had faced the cult before, and shared their knowledge of the dark magic. The night before the ritual, the group held a meeting under the stars, the air thick with tension. "We have to trust in each other," Juma urged. "Our bond is our greatest weapon." As they shared stories and fears, the weight of their mission settled heavily upon them. But they knew they had to face the darkness, no matter the cost. On the night of the blood moon, Juma and his friends gathered at the clearing where the cult planned to conduct their ritual. The air crackled with energy, the shadows swirling in anticipation. As the cultists began their incantations, Juma felt a surge of fear. "We can't let them finish," he shouted, rallying their allies. They surged forward, their combined power clashing against the dark forces. The cult leader turned, eyes wide with fury. "You dare interrupt the ritual? You will pay." With a fierce determination, Juma shouted, "We will not be afraid." The battle raged on, the air filled with the sounds of incantations and the clash of magic. Juma and his friends fought fiercely, their bonds amplifying their strength. As the cult leader summoned a wave of darkness, Juma felt a surge of energy within him. "Now!" Together, he shouted, and they combined their powers, unleashing a blinding light. The shadows recoiled, but the cult leader fought back with all his might. "You cannot defeat me," he roared, summoning the full force of the abyss. But Juma and his friends stood strong, their light pushing against the darkness. "We are the light," Juma shouted, channeling every ounce of courage into their final strike. The light erupted, engulfing the clearing in a brilliant blaze. The cult leader's screams echoed through the night as the darkness shattered, banished back to the abyss. As the dust settled, Juma and his friends stood victorious. They had faced the darkness and emerged stronger than ever, their bonds unbreakable. But as they looked around, they knew this was only the beginning. The shadows might retreat, but the battle against the darkness would never truly end. Together, they would continue to fight, always prepared for whatever horrors lay ahead.